One of the challenges that beset the indigenous peoples or IGOROTs in the Cordillera region in northern Luzon, Philippines is the waning of the rich cultural heritage by acculturation and migration. Their unique traditional practices, rituals, and ceremonies such as music are heavily challenged because of the continued influx of modern foreign music. The IGOROT youth are drawn to these types of music to the extent of forgetting their very own. Cordillera music forms part of their many cultural and societal activities. In a typical community, every celebration or activity has a corresponding music or tune. They use music to convey their feelings and idea about everything.
That's the rundown of our workshop. Now, in between the workshops, we will be hearing explanations about the usage, how it was used, the purpose.
Documenting, making and playing of traditional bamboo instruments is one way to transfer the rich IGOROT musical traditions to the next generations. There is yet no single material printed that is devoted completely about the indigenous bamboo instruments of the IGOROTs. This is because traditions are usually transmitted orally. Every song performed corresponds in accompaniment to any of the indigenous bamboo instruments. There are only few elders and bamboo musical artisans alive in the Cordillera region. Thus, the need to train the youth in making and performing bamboo instruments who can also teach other young people in their communities. This is a way of preserving musical traditions by way of demonstrations and performances. IP songs are usually about love for Kabunyan, the Cordilleran god, and the beautiful land he has given them. Some songs praise the splendor of the rivers and the mountains, while others speak of peace, kindness, understanding, diligence, and hospitality. One of which is the use of bamboos as materials for flute or other wind and percussion instruments.
In terms of selection of materials for your bamboo instruments.
The Hapiyoh Culture and Arts Center Incorporated and Sacred Fire Foundation partnered together for a workshop called Indigenous Peoples Youth Workshop and Documentation on Making and Playing of IGOROT Bamboo Instruments. These are the bamboo instruments demonstrated during the workshop. The clapper or buzzers or pagkong among the Ibaloys of Benguet is a percussion instrument about 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inches in diameter. The tube is closed at one end by its node which serves as the handle. About 4 inches from the node, two opposite sides of the tube are chopped off, leaving two blades about 1 1/4 inches wide. Below one of the blades, a hole around 1 centimeter in diameter is bored. It is played by holding the end of the tube with one hand while striking it on the open palm or wrist of the other hand. The buzzing sound can be transformed by covering and uncovering the bored hole with the thumb. Clappers are played during festive occasions such as wedding ceremonies, Thanksgiving, and peace pacts. It is played to show feelings of sadness and even to drive away bad spirits. The flute comes in two kinds, the nose flute, which is generally called kalaleng, and the mouth flute called tungali. Flutes are made out of the bamboo variety anus, measuring 2 feet in length, decorated with etchings of intricate design, with one end open and the other end closed. A small hole about 1 1/2 centimeter in diameter at the middle of the closed end serves as the passage of air from the nose when played. 4 holes along its length help in producing different tones when the fingers close and open over them. Any piece could convey the message of praising Kabunyan for the wonders of creation or exhorting the young to protect the land and people. The flute is also used to entertain oneself during the Tungao or rest day and also while watching the rice fields. In olden times, ladies played this instrument at night in the pangis, a public dormitory for young girls of marriageable age and for boys courting them. It can also be played anytime in the ator or at home for fun and relaxation. The juice or jaw harp, locally called kulipao or ulibao, is a small musical instrument that produces soft and brilliant reverberation. The typical width measures half an inch at its base and narrower at its tip. Played with the hand and mouth, the tiny harp is pressed securely against the player's parted lips or teeth. It has a tongue, a very thin strip scalpeled from the middle of the instrument, which vibrates and produces a sound when plucked while placed between slightly parted lips. The mouth and jaw serve as the resonator that increases the volume of the instrument. The tone or pitch produced is constant, but could be transformed by changing the shape of the mouth and the quantity of air blown in it. Traditionally played by hunters, the jaw harp is believed to induce the pitogo, or birds, to excite wild pigs and deer so that they might move through the forest, thus making them easier to trap. For the ifugaos, it is used to serenade a woman. The musical mouth bow, commonly called the tangguyog, is a functionally related instrument. Its form is similar with the stamper, but wider and longer in its diameter and length respectively. Also, it has a hole bored around 1.5 inches in diameter, just above the close end. It is played by blowing the bored hole to serve as a signal call. It could be a call upon the spirit of kabunyan to help the men stage a good hunt, or it could be used to signal either the start of a day's work or the beginning of any activity or festivity in the community. The panpipe, popularly called sugaypo, is a set of 3 to 6 bamboo tubes, blown into at their open ends, similar to a whistle. It is a wind instrument which is common among the kalingas, bontoks, and tingians. The lowest pitched pipe is called a balbal. The specific names of the other pipes correspond to their pitch and position in the ensemble, namely makadwa or second pipe, makatlo or third pipe, kapat, fourth pipe, lima or fifth pipe, and anum or sixth pipe. Historically, the sugaypo used to be played by hunters while walking in the forest in order for them not to be heard by the animals. The parallel zithers, known as tambi in most places in the Cordillera region, is a hollow bamboo tube, which produces sounds while holding it with the left hand and striking it with a palok or wooden stick with the right hand. The tambi comes in a set of 6 to 8 tubes of similar sizes, usually used to accompany some dances like the baliwus of Abra and pattong of Kalinga. With the revival of this instrument, it can be used as an alternate of the gong in community gatherings or festivities to create varied sounds. The quill-shaped tubes or the patanggok usually comes in a set of 6 to 8 bamboo instruments, which are quill-shaped tubes played during the forging of peace pacts. Among the people of Bugnay Kalinga, it is used to attract the pigs roaming around the village. For other IP groups, it is used in performing the dumog, a ritual performed by the elderly for a newly built house before it is occupied. Patanggok is also used during the tungad, a ritual to drive away evil spirits. The stamper or tungatong is a percussion instrument made from the bolo variety of bamboo. It is a tube that is played in sets of 3 to 5 pieces. The length and diameter of each piece vary, of which the shortest is about 18 inches and the longest around 30 to 36 inches. It is played by stomping it on the ground with the open end facing up to produce a sound. This instrument is usually played by the Kalinga communities during a gabok or gafok, the birth of the firstborn of newlywed couple. It is also used to communicate with spirits during house blessings. There are instances when an entire set of tungatong is played in interlocking rhythm and with prolonged tribal chanting. It could put the audience and the dancers in a trance. The xylophone of the IGOROTs has 2 forms: the leg xylophone of the Kalingas called patatag and the ground xylophone of the Itnags or Tingians called patpatong or talonggating. Both are composed of 5 to 6 bamboo blades of graduated sizes and played solo, usually by children, by striking the blades using 2 sticks held on each hand. For the kalingas, it is called leg xylophone due to the manner of playing where the bamboo blades are positioned on the player's stretched legs while seated on the ground. The instrument is used for general purposes. The polychordal tube zither or kulitang in kalinga is made up with a minimum of 4 strings and a maximum of 10, lifted above the instrument's hard bamboo skin. The availability of metal strings nowadays serves as a substitute for the bamboo skin. One way of playing the tube zither combines the plucking of strings with the fingers of one hand and striking 1 or 2 strings with a stick held by the other hand. Another technique requires 2 performers to play the tube zither, with one player plucking the strings using both hands, and the other player holding the opposite end of the bamboo tube while knocking on the tube's body with the knuckles of one hand in prescribed rhythmic patterns. The third style of playing the kulitang is by simply plucking the strings with both hands. Such play is for relaxation and entertainment during social gatherings.
These kind of trainings and workshops are very important in our community, especially in Cordillera Administrative Region. And we hope that these trainings will be continuous for us to assure that our next generations will really know about our culture, traditions, and our musical instruments and music as a whole.
Through this activity, we can bring the potential of bamboo to a more elevated exposure, to protect natural resources and the environment, to ensure sustainable utilization, to promote new cultivation of bamboo for new industries in the Cordilleras, as well as promote traditional uses locally for the community's economic development. The Hapiyoh Culture and Arts Center has always been an advocate for cultural integrity. It is therefore a must, especially to the youth, to initiate projects like this, which will revive the vibrancy of their indigenous music and let it resonate to the very core of every indigenous people and their communities. Through the support of Sacred Fire Foundation, we can make a change that will benefit the very people we serve, the indigenous peoples.